So good morning, good evening, and maybe in South Africa it might even be good afternoon. I don't know. But welcome. Welcome to explore what is. So if you can just hear how we're starting this morning, okay? Welcome to explore what is. Now, can we explore what is with memory? Can we explore what is with mind? Can we explore what is with emotion? Or can we only explore what is when we realize what is what one is already? So is there, as it were, a third party exploring what is as appearance, what is as a memory, and what is as a human? Or is what is more than those three? In fact, those three come out of what is, but those three always disappear into what is. And only what is can know what is. And are those three, as it were, interferons of what is? Do you like that word, interferons? I think I might have got that from Stingray or something like that. I think there were some beings. Oh no, they were mysterons. They're interferons. So let's just have a look. What is? You might want to say that yourself. What is? Let's. I'm going to try it here. You can say, all right, what is? What is? What is? What is? Is. So we're going to explore this. What is? So what is the only intelligence that can explore what is. Only what is can explore what is. Hello. What is a memory can't. What is a human can't. What is past can't. What is future can't. Only what is can explore what is. So is what is exploring itself, because only it can be what is. Consciousness itself. So is a human conscious? Is a human conscious? Or is only what is conscious, in which the human appears, a human appearing to be many, a star appearing to be many, a universe full of the appearance of what is. So only what is can truly know what is. In other words, consciousness itself. So does a human have consciousness, or is consciousness only having itself? And humanness is a form of appearance, a vibrating form of appearance. But is that a human? Did what is name the form of appearance human? Or is that just a mumbo jumbo matrix of vibrations that, quite as it were, naturally come out of what is and is displayed? Let's just call it for a moment. We have to, I'm endeavoring to explore this with you, and we'll do some exploration moves, experiments shortly. But if I look into innermost experience, which I can only say here, but as I say here, do I really mean here? Or do I mean here? When you say here, do you go straight to the memory system that appears to be a body mind branded? It's a brand. I don't know if you're going to get to know this yet. It's a brand, human. No different from Nestle. No different from Mars Bar. No different from Ford. No different from Google. But here, consciousness is only knowing consciousness. And here, consciousness discovered even its root of consciousness. It's quite difficult to speak directly as this. One can only point. But light clearly came out of the black. So light at root is the deep or the black. and that light filled the void. You can check this in your own experience now. So within this, I'm not telling you anything, let's just keep going and see what we can see in here. No. Within this, light filled the void. And you could say the absolute came forth, and the subtleties of the absolute as light, real light, light that is not made from anything other than that, consciousness itself. And the consciousness knew itself as consciousness itself. Now we have to, I suggest, look at this as we enter. It's like a meditation, just a word that points to exploration of returning into what one already is, if that is possible. That's what we're discovering. The question here, in brackets, am I human, aware of being conscious, of being human? Am I human, aware of things? Is my consciousness human, or am I one of those things that vibrate out in what I already am? No matter what appears, a subject or an object, I am never not that, realizing its own innate consciousness. Things appear, but I don't actually appear. I appear to appear. Consciousness is only conscious of itself. Check out the human. Let's do, okay, so we're in Waitrose or Sainsbury's. I can't remember any of these Italian stores, or certainly not in South Africa. It's a long time since I've been there, but let's go to the checkout. How many different vibrations or types of humans do you meet? And you only meet humans because you compare another with yourself as being human. If there was no machinery of comparison, would you have anything to compare? Or would you be the incomparable consciousness itself? If we kind of look at this, and we're still at the checkout. Yeah, stir fry today. Bloody hell, more Mars bars. And there's flashes that seem to interrupt the noosphere of objects. And there's a knowing that I know I am. And I am far more than a human, but I know I am. Far more than an other, but I know I am. Far more than a subject picking up objects. I know I am. And there is nothing one can see, one can do, that is not at root vibrating, shining, the knowing I am. All those parent subjects and objects are a kaleidoscope. Are they a kaleidoscope of the endless possibility of I am appearing? But I am only ever appears, for it's behind it all, but it never actually appears. Only the stuff that is made of I am appears, and appears to be I am, but never is it I am. It's an appearance of I am. It's a maya, if you like, or an illusion, if you like. Now let's just look at this. We'll kind of shift the focus and the intention. Okay? Is I am, who's knowing it's I am, appearing in every living thing? Are there vibrations, colors, and textures, and as it were, frequencies of I am appearing to itself? Hence, the cosmos is a different appearance of I am than, let's say, an ant or a human, but all contain the I am, and all contain all the forms, vibrating forms of I am as codes or living possibilities. And as I am explores I am, the creation itself wakes up to its own creator. And even the creator wakes up to its root, the absolute. And there's literally no means to control any of it as a subject or object. That's the illusion that creates even more confusion. So can a human control its own destiny? Or is a human simply destined only to turn to dust? You need to have a look at this. Only destined to die. After all, it's a vibrational, seemingly solid form, an image of the self that truly is, a likeness, but not actually that, and yet made of that. So even where we are right now in this, I don't know what you want to call this, a conversation, is a disentanglement of a belief that a human can ever be conscious. That's like saying, is a book conscious of being a book? Is a dog conscious of being a dog? Are you conscious of being a human, or are you only conscious of being consciousness? Is the idea of being a human an image, a fragment of the limitless possibility of the self realizing itself, even though it's never ever set out to realize itself? And yet within its light naturally arises vibratory forms as vast as creation, as vast as a supernova, as vast as a universe, as vast as a continent. Is not everything that is of a cosmic scale appearing now as a blade of grass or an apparent human life form? Isn't this just an amazing kaleidoscope? Scope. If you take the S off, you got cope. It's like humans tend to try to cope with the kaleidoscope. It's chaos. But it's only consciousness knowing itself. And only consciousness can be conscious. And never can a human that passes away ever be conscious, because only consciousness can be conscious. Really focusing on this, maybe you can see. Can a human be aware, or can only awareness be aware of being aware? Is this, as it were, without measure, but is absolutely instantaneous? And is seeing and knowing, directly seeing and knowing, that what I am realizes what it is. And the game is over. Although the life play still continues. But isn't there that I am laughing, that I am joyous, that I am full, that I am amazed at what it is? Is a human ever going to achieve that? Well, if what we've been looking at is true, of course not. That would only be an appearance. Can anything be achieved that already is? Or is that only, as it were, we have a concession here, only the unfolding of what truly is? That is the power, the wonder, the beauty, the love. I'm going to use the word, the magic, the freedom of it all. Now, let's look at this. We'll do another shift. Here it comes. You ready? Wong. Oh, hold on. I'm going to just turn the tune in the other way. Wing. Oh, I've got that in my ear. Hold on, let's try another one. Wing. That sounded like a very early morning cry. Okay, we shifted to tuner. Am I that's exploring itself? And this, if I don't give it a name, if you can give it a name, this body is a body of living awareness. But this living awareness doesn't actually need this body. But this body makes it possible to explore dimensions of the appearance of consciousness, And we call that the universe. And do I ever return to dust? Do I ever move into a body? Or is that just a game? Do I simply return to what I've always been, never have been anything else? And yet it seems to, and this is where we have to be open to explore. The more I know myself as consciousness itself, exploring itself, as consciousness, I am conscious. There's a change of vibration that manifests, let's just call it the pitch or frequency in which consciousness has become aware of being consciousness itself. Not only is there inherent freedom that begins to be so clear and so seen, and this game of needing something to be more in my appearance rather than discovering the appearance is just that, an appearance. And if you look, surely an appearance has this other word, disappearance. So appearances disappear from whence they came. And then that disappeared seems to return. But that disappeared never returns. It's just another appearance. And this is where it might seem to get complicated or mystical. That disappears and then reappears is only a field of memory or evolution or involution. Is up to the one who listens to these words now. Are you exploring this outer world that appears and disappears? Or are you exploring your inner ancient science of you? Are you exploring the innermost that then appears? Like mirrors for you to know you're conscious, not mirrors for you to know your next action, not mirrors to know polarity, just mirrors. That's all. A hall of mirrors. That's all. To know that you are conscious. Not only conscious, you are consciousness itself. So when the form disappears, isn't that the highest potential? In that it disappears into where there is no appearance, which is the ground of being consciousness itself. So doesn't it then follow that appearance, as it may or may not be, the appearance returns? Wouldn't the appearance be altered by the appearance, as it were, returning to its own ground? Or is it that the appearance begins to latch onto or identify with the field of appearances? Memory. If one did not move by memory, would one discover I am the movement of consciousness itself? Never am I not that, exploring its own self. Then the question is, does that alone emit another frequency of the light that I already am? Does that allow into what appears to be a third dimension, a fifth dimension, a sixth dimension, a seventh dimension, or the absolute. By knowing myself, image, do I release that image, which after all is like pieces of iron filing, as it were. That the moment consciousness returns to the deep, sometimes called sleep, those iron filings are just vibrating in a matrix of the known, or the matrix of the frequency in which consciousness was knowing itself. Hence, when you're at the checkout, the cash desk, one can know, see, and observe different levels of human appearance, or the appearance of light, having different frequency, ability, through memory or self-knowledge. So right now, this seems to be the awake state. But is it? Is this just another dream? Or is it true that consciousness that's conscious of being conscious without doing anything, the dream changes field, vibration, activity, but never does it change the consciousness, because it's never not been consciousness itself, just the appearance. And never was there anyone there, and never will there be anyone there. That's the appearance. Next exploration. If what's just being vibrated true, is consciousness somehow or other learning how to recreate itself through knowing itself as consciousness itself. I'll try to say that again. Is consciousness able to recreate itself, its appearance, through only realizing itself, that it is already consciousness itself? Another shift. Hold on to your seat. If that's true, is there anyone on this call that's able to listen to this call? You need to have a listen, please. That you're on this call because you're on an event horizon, about to surpass the knowing of your small self as you, but the knowing of knowing that you are the absolute. Is that the event horizon? But for that to, as it were, actuate in the appearance, then surely awareness must be the constant knowing of itself and not the appearance. So is the human appearance, or even the appearance of the universe, simply the remaking of the appearance through conscious realizing it is conscious of itself only. And the universe spins and changes. And macrocosm to microcosm, that happens down to what we call a human level until we get beyond that infantile version of ourselves. So one can know that this is ultimate possibility here and now, for I am that. And I am the movement of that. But it doesn't need much discernment to know that the human is an appearance only of that and passes away. So then why would I believe memory, which is a chaotic collision, a kaleidoscope of belief systems, that the universe is not one whole, but many individuals, and the only individual here is the self, the one. Okay, we're going to have another complete shift. Okay, ready? Ready? Unbuckle. Let's just say, just for a moment, this is ridiculous what I'm going to say in the beginning, but what I'm pointing to is not ridiculous. It could be the truth. Is a human simply an alignment of many black holes, which the human has called chakras or energy systems? Mm-hmm. And the human is an appearance of many black holes. And in those black holes, many suns have come out of. Many possibilities that manifest as the appearance of an outer universe, but is the vibration of an inner placeless place of pure being alive. And the black hole of your real self is coming through many vocal points of light, energy, and also creative energies such as earth, wind, fire, water, and ether. And when you're at the checkout, get in your shopping, all that you're actually looking at is event horizons appearing to you to be human because you believed you are human. But you're looking at event horizons of the one in multi-dimensional appearances. And the very singular nature of this singularity of I appears as many possibilities, hence every one is a singularity of appearance. In short, there's no one who's not the one. But these black holes that appear to be energy centers are vortexes and vortices of possibility. And in what we've been told is a human realm, if you check out a baby, there's no human there. If you check out a baby, it doesn't laugh and giggle at a mother and father. It has no idea of one. It's laughing and giggling at itself, for itself, because it's the self. It's a blank screen of wonder and possibility appearing, and that's why it's laughing. It has no knowledge or content. That's why it's laughing. And you're at the checkout, and all that you're doing, as it were, is checking out the different ratios of how beings are manipulated. I'm being careful with this word because nobody's doing the manipulation. You hear me? No one's doing the manipulation. Manipulated through belief systems, through that being believing it's someone, watching those black holes being filled with ideas of separation, and using particular elements. Some use fire, some use wind, some use air. And if you looked, there would be the occasional one where the black holes are in alignment with each level of the elements. And if your awareness is aligned with each level of the elements, you feel a pull of being in alignment with that manifest appearance. Because you are the event horizon within the black hole of that possibility of the self knowing itself through appearance. But it's you that's peering through the black hole into the creation that's the event horizon. And the event horizon is, thy will is done. I see and know myself. Here is consciousness as another, realizing there is no such one as other. So you're watching all this dance of elements, which after all are there, as it were, the light energetic chemistry of manifesting an appearance as appearance of the whole, appearing as a singularity that currently we call an individual. But that individual has been polarized by the idea of image and memory, space and time. But the event horizon is to go beyond all of that and meet oneself new. And that would be a different kind of consciousness in appearance. Might not even be called human. It might even just be called hue. A vibratory color tone of universal potentiality. It will begin to make sense how the energy centers are more than you've been told or explored. They're event horizons. And you get, as it were, to master the illusion that you're someone and explore the creation, even the subtle worlds, through those holes, black holes. And you also get to see how you, as it were, have been calling you from other dimensions. But you think that's some higher self. You think that's somebody else. No, it's you from higher dimensions. But of course, the dimensionless is that truly calls you back to you, to realize you are consciousness itself. Everything else is a play, bound and played by the constructs of thought and the personalization of actuation as a focus point, a location of being someone. And none of that is actually true. You are exploring the cosmos and the subtle worlds as consciousness itself. And you're not exploring it by going anywhere, but simply by being here now. And there is not anyone you cannot not meet that's not already you on a different time dimension, a kaleidoscope of possibilities to mirror back to itself that there are no blocks, but what there are is configurations of possibility, and also configurations of possibility that have caught up in the space-time idea. We call those blocks. That only realizing you are consciousness itself by easily seeing you are conscious. The human is not conscious. You are conscious. Only consciousness can be conscious of being conscious. Then you transcend it all and include it all. And that we call real life. You stop being fooled by the energetic appearance of things and societal distortion, filling the field with memory and location when there is no such thing as location of the memory. This is all the amazing kaleidoscope of innate possibility that only belongs to consciousness itself, exploring itself as consciousness. Everything else is the appearance of that on no matter what level consciousness discovers itself. Third, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 dimensions is only consciousness ever exploring its own consciousness. Inherent freedom is the nature of consciousness. I could add one thing only to this. Only courageous discernment of what is returns you to your own inherent freedom, and the maya that's played, that whether you believe you got caught up in it or not, you are never not here now as pure consciousness. Then this appearance of a human in a field of memory is only, as it were, a living memory, which is now, of that I truly am. Because underlying all experience is a knowing I am that. Veiled or covered only by the dimensionality. That's funny, it almost become dementia-ality, forgetting who I am. Of this consistent idea I'm someone, there's a consistent idea of human that's easily seen to be propagated by the use of memory. Filling the field with false knowledge, but returning, as it were, in sleep, which turns out not to be sleep, but the instantaneous dissolving of self-image, an entrance into higher fields of conscious knowing myself, which I've never not been, but now awake. When the appearance appears, it's never not from the deep. It's just not out here. It's an appearance of this profundity that I am. And that's what brings consciousness in change, not change that's needed, a natural change, evolution, development. There's a natural occurrence when awareness realizes it's aware, consciousness realizes it's consciousness. The forms vibrate differently. There is no seeker there. There is no someone, there is not someone to do better. And yet evolution naturally happens. Growth naturally happens. Or is maybe the destiny of the cosmos to be the instantaneous likeness of the absolute. But there's no one trying to achieve that. And yet one might be able to say, depending where one is, wow, I really achieved that. In other words, I really achieved to fly an aeroplane on my own. I really achieved to drive a car. I really achieved to remain present and aware. And even then, the idea of achievement vanishes. One begins to be aware of being profoundly aware. And actually in love, as love, with what one first is. I would then suggest that this seeming human activity begins to be seen as, on one level, an illusion, but not made wrong. It's just the dance. And on another level, the collection of energetic, conscious experience through having life, and that there's no one that you can ever pass in the street where you are now, that you are not knowing yourself and, as it were, collecting yourself and the greater abilities, and also knowing the lack of those abilities, but only as the one self that knows no lack. You're sharing consciousness no matter where you go. The level you've realized and the confusions you had, but you're never not that and you're never not separate from the other. It's the one appearing as many. We're sharing, some like to say we're sharing our love. You decide. We're sharing what we already are. And we're sharing the black holes of possibility. So then energetic centers are no longer fairy-like, but they may be. They're no longer, they're simply unknown black holes that you must venture into. But then you get the idea, oh, hold on a minute. I go into a black hole every time I fall to sleep. You are your own sustainer, self-creator, self-knower, self-lover. You are the absolute. So begin to have a look at these black holes. You'll see that maybe the lower black holes are full of impressions, the need to survive. And these higher black holes might be full of impressions, the need to know what's going to happen to me. But the middle black hole couldn't care less about any of this. Will you disappear? Oh, yes, you bloody will. Every night you go to sleep, every time you close your eyes, you're not a memory system. You're an infinite being. Beyond image and imagination. Can you share this with others? Too right, mate. Do you share this with others, even if you don't talk to them? Absolutely. It's an informational field of possibility, actuality, and for some, still binding memory. Are you the whole? Absolutely. There's no one that you're not. Are you singularity? Absolutely. But not the individual through time space that you believe you are. You're not locatable. If you don't think, there is no location because you're multi-dimensional, omnipresent, pure being. Easy to see. When you love this more than anything, don't use it as an escape method from the sensation of experience. So there's quite a bit here that I've endeavored to point to. The black holes, most definitely. Event horizon. And the fact that I've said this other ways before. Higher dimensions of what you already are calling you forth to be of the higher dimension, right where you are. You're already more than you currently experience. But you don't need to go anywhere for that to open. You just stay still and know that I am God. Make sense? Consciousness, in other words. Natural response to an as that knowing will take place, or mental resistance through apparent suffering of time-space. But you're your own alchemy, your own medicine, your own possibility. And it's literally being danced by and as the cosmos, as all of our appearances. And there's no one that you can not meet. There's a sharing of you in some way. But if you see them as someone, rather than the direct experience of your own self-mirrored knowledge to yourself as a being, you'll get confused. Your mind will start to get active and produce mirrors, which are vibrations, which are thoughts in your head as if you should or shouldn't do something. Entanglement with the illusion of being human. So we close our eyes. And the breath breathes naturally. The ether coming forth from the black hole of possibility. And someone meets others that have integrated light, energy, and consciousness and elementals. Others as yet don't have enough direct experience of consciousness, self, and other. It's a mix in this universe. That's why it's said to be chaos. But if you look up chaos, literally means destiny. So we close our eyes. And the light that came out of what you're looking into looks back to itself. It's made itself too, so that it can know itself. Awareness, consciousness. So right now with your eyes closed, it appears that you're looking into a screen. But the screen is that the observer of the screen came out of looking back at itself. If you stayed with that enough, whoever you are, the observer would zoom into hyperspace, an immediate creation from subtle to dynamic to manifest. You've moved at such a speed that you appear to be human now. But you close your eyes and you look into the screen or the black. And sometimes this screen has pictures on it, we call that dreams. Sometimes it's just pure black. And sometimes there's this feeling that the observer is merging into the black, and the observer begins to disappear. When awareness makes that conscious, there's a natural realization of itself. That's the same as saying, go consciously aware to sleep. It's absolutely the same movement from which the creation comes forth, made of light. Let's take a breath and we'll open our eyes. Memory is pretty convincing mirage. Memory is a pretty convincing mirage. Powerful mirage that's needed only for this instant of creation. Boom. Gone. This is why there's nothing in the universe or the cosmos that doesn't have a heartbeat. Something, nothing, something, nothing, something, nothing, something, nothing. Check it all out. It appears as a vibrational tone, which we call music. If you looked into the stars and just sat still, you would hear this song. Something, nothing, nothing, something. I am that. Neither something nor nothing. The dissonant chord of vibration is the belief that you are something, someone. But you have no beginning and end. Move beyond the illusion, and you're fulfilled only by you being your own fulfillment. You, awareness, that is. Not the clothes you put on as being someone. But right now, this focal point called I can gather the entire intelligence of the cosmos and beyond. And it come to a vocal point of I am that. Then your intelligence, your light, your love moves differently. You're realizing your innermost beloved science of you. And its appearance that appears to be outside, but it's actually on your own screen of beautiful black brightness. Okay, Houston, we're having countdown to meeting into the black hole in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Meet the black hole. Lost a few people, haven't we? Like we shrunk. Oh no, here they are. Oh, there's some more. Okay. Okay. Welcome back. Everyone can hear, everyone can see. Okay, I'm not actually going to move to question and answer. I want to just explore a little before we close. I think, God, my maths is great. Can't put 2 and 2 together. I know 2 and 2 is 1 because everything goes back to 1 and then it goes back to 0. So okay, so we've been on about an hour and 40. Okay, have a look at this. Are you ready? Have a look at this. Question. Come on, stay awake. Is only one's image of oneself portrayed only through memory that gets you confused with anything whatsoever? Is only your image of yourself portrayed by the use of thought and memory that gets you confused and creates space-time when there is none, for you are infinite and eternal? What seems to be sequential is not. What seems to have sequential, which looks like sequential, I don't know if you see this, anything that's sequential has consequences. Sequential and consequences are the same movement. Ah, that's a good one. I like it when Graham gets it. I like it when you all get it, but there you go. So there is nothing sequential only on this apparently third-dimensional planet, simply because this third-dimensional planet has only 3 dimensions. Is that clear? Space, time, memory. It's that painful as it is, you might not have seen that. 3 dimensions are space, time, memory. Why? Because consciousness is not a dimension. That's why. Ah, yeah, I like that. Consciousness is not a dimension. It's what is. So when let's just call it, when a becoming, we're going to call it a becoming, which is really awareness who's got confused, that's not infinite. When a consciousness is developing, let's say, an instrument that is of manifestation, the human instrument doesn't manifest. Consciousness manifests through just simply being consciousness. Happens. Happens. You want that again? Happens. So thought, memory, and time is 3 dimensions. Who is conscious of this? When consciousness becomes conscious of being conscious, there won't be three dimensions. There might be self-realization. Who knows? You don't really need it because you are that. But other dimensions, multi-dimensions, can open up in the one who truly is. So the ability of perception through multi-dimensional capacity of instantaneous knowing of here and now is the possibility in what appears to be a human body, but it's not. It's a field of infinite possibility. The distortion is three dimensions. You got this? Memory, time, yeah, the belief that you're someone, location. So you can't enter what you are because the basis of one's life is this sense of self-centeredness around a location. Hello. Come on, try it louder. Keep going there. So really you yearn for you, not other dimensions. But the crazy thing is about this is when you cease yearning for you and you realize what you are, all dimensions open up in consciousness. But consciousness, no matter what dimension, only ever knows it's knowing itself, is knowing it's conscious. That may or may not explode as light, who cares? And that may or may not, as it were, return to the deep. Or it may be all so instantaneous, wow, because that's what it really is. So consciousness may be able to apprehend the source of its own consciousness, which I say is awareness or the absolute. And yet there will still be more. Now let's just look into this a tiny little bit more. Okay? We're going to call this the danger of light. Are you ready? Okay? The danger of light is quite simple. The danger of light is that if one should realize light, that light in a human experience will divide even more. Hence, light has divided itself. Yes, okay, let's just get the frown off our face and just try to listen. It's quite simple. Oh, others have just appeared. Where did they come from? Light, the singularity of light, has, as it were, unknowingly divided itself into multi-dimensional experiences of itself, from light to apparent appearance as existence, but only light exists. But it keeps dividing itself. When you realize light, you're actually going to create more cosmology. When you realize light, you'll be, as it were, manifesting, but you might not know this. Light will split itself in even more fractals for you to realize that you're light. That's the creative experience. To return itself to itself, and in the same instant to be a multi-dimensional creator. Now, you might not wrap yourself around what I've just said just yet, but you will. And from the deep, one's own experience, the black, light came forth and filled the void of perception. Light became many things, if you look. But truly, from the standpoint of the observer, one observer. But when that observer looks out at others in appearance that they also observe, the one eye has become many. One observer become many. Light split into fractals. And if you look at this, you will see that at some stage, which is really stageless, you'll be teaching those fractals when you realize light, that they are light itself, because you're a creator. Not as a human, but as light. So the light that came out of light ends up teaching itself in many fractal forms that it's light. And that's the way it goes. Check it out. The confusion is if you focused on being someone through memory, time and space, it's a very ancient word. It's called you're fucked. It's a I don't know what that is in French, but it's a very sannyasin way of putting it, but that's what it is. To begin to see this, light returning to itself will realize itself, but in the same instant, I would suggest while it has three-dimensional form appearance, it splits itself into more fractals. And those fractals, as it were, come to itself for itself to realize its light. And each fractal remembers its light, and the same process happens to all that realize the one as themselves. It's truly amazing to really get this, and the deeper you go into it, the more wonderfully terrible and beautiful it is. But you get to realize how it all takes place. So when life is seen from this the fractals of light that come from your own exploration of source as that light is a necessary reflection to light to realize itself as consciousness itself. And the reflected light that was refracted also begins to come into the flow of realizing itself. And the same happens again. Hence the universe expands. And wisdom is passed down, not memory. Memory belongs to three dimensions. So the fullness of that light is the enjoyment of being, becoming, returning. No use of mind, no use of image, no use of memory. Many are called, but few come at this very late stage of disappearance of this epoch of time. But this epoch of time has served all beings, regardless of whether those beings realize it or not. But in one, as it were, no longer making an image of oneself, more light is released as source consciousness. Literally, in the third dimension, this is the end of those times. Pisces, two fishes swimming in one ocean, is finished. Aquarius, one ocean, oceanic, is coming aware of itself, no other. And one can open to the knowing of that as the knowing itself, knowing itself. And even that knowing itself, turns into fractals to mirror back the singularity of knowing. The only event horizon in any black hole, mistakenly called or wonderfully called a chakra, is the event horizon is to fully realize what one already is, of which even the event horizon appears in. And one begins to laugh with joy. One begins to know profound humility, and one begins to know compassion. But they're all fractals of the one light. That's how it goes. So let's, as it were, close our eyes and dive deep. And we learn no longer to make an image of ourselves, or the image of ourselves plays out even in the shallow levels of the return to being nothing whatsoever, which actually is everything altogether. Nothing whatsoever is everything altogether. And we just, as it were, dissolve. But only the appearance is dissolving. The magnificence is revealing. And in the only instant that there is, whether we open our eyes or not, instantaneous capacity of self-reflected, self-knowing aware is the case already. And we apparently open our eyes or not, but we're knowing more, unlimited by any space, by any time, by any event. The singularity, the horizon is not the future, but now. So when we open our eyes, all that you seem to see has nothing whatsoever to do with the appearance or the location of that appearance. That's the wisdom that's in any field, regardless of activity throughout the cosmos and all realms. So when we open our eyes, this is a substantial field of that is substantial, which is the self. Making no image of this, although patterns will still run otherwise, the possibility of the animation of this field of experience currently related to is human. Then the consciousness that is believed it is human can then self-know and self-reflect through self-knowing, aware, and see that human does not have consciousness. Consciousness is what the human appears in. I am that. It just becomes more and more obvious. And the relaxation as that naturally happens. And the cosmos opens up to its own source, and the worlds of subtlety open up to consciousness itself. And nothing is needed to have a particular design. It's just the self revealing itself to itself. This is called immaculate conception. And the most wonderful thing in this appearance of a biological, after all, appearance, is that even biology is made of the stars. Even biology is the highest of consciousness appearing. Even biology is the intelligence of the stars and the intelligence of source appearing. Even biology is that. Wonderful. Amazing. This is the truth. And this appearance, this biological appearance, creates the very universal cosmic chemistry from a divine network for appearance to appear as that. The use of memory as location is limitation imposed on the limitless. That is the joke. The location of appearance as the movement of things is magic. Hence you know what a cup is. Hence you can know a thing, how to use it. It's actually got nothing to do with the appearance of location. It's the magic of creation. It's all the movement of the one knowing itself. even feeding itself, even performing itself, even outperforming itself and returning itself in one breath. Leaving the world alone, there is no such thing as human. Only the forming intelligence of Earth as a being, Earth being. Nanu Earth being, as it were. What fun, what joy, what incomprehensible possibility that looks like a void of blackness. But it is the unknown speaking to itself of its own high magic, high love, deep possibility. That's why we say to each other when we do, hi, love. Forget yourself. You come into what you are. That passage is only to you as terrible as you believe you need to realize you. You invent the passage. You invent the way. Or your capacity to pass through that passage, awake and aware and utterly vulnerable, is a divine learning curve for all beings to realize what they are. So what you need next, as it were, as we appear to come down to a third dimensional aspect of reality, because reality is free of dimensions for its a singularity, is only determined by you returning into a black hole of your choice or of your calling, sometimes known as choicelessness. That is in front of you every single moment of what appears to be a day and what appears to be night, but it's only the appearance of you on the screen of your own infinite possibility. Memorize the world in your cells. They are not spinning in the highest possibility, but spinning in the known. Therefore, cells and DNA die. Because as they spin in memory, they burn out. But as they spin in the light of self-knowing, self-awareness, they vibrate at a different velocity that has the capacity to manifest the lightness of the deep. No one is taught this at school. The school is within you. There are no certificates. There are no handrails. There are no rules. There is no safety. It's all only possibility. And you don't get to survive it because you're infinite. But you do get to thrive as it because you're the self. And this is the crazy thing about these so-called sitsangs, sing-songs, satsits, is you'll go straight back to your Malay of doing what you think you need. Me, I will simply sit with a divine double shot latte and survey the universe as myself and the divine worlds as I am that. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for being a mirror of that I am, for we are all that. And also, if you're interested, we're going to have an equinox get together on the 22nd of the Northern Hemisphere time sphere. And I believe it's 8:30 in the UK on the 22nd. Christiana will send out all the relevant information if you'd like to join in. And the emphasis will be in what is equinox? Is it the divining of the year ahead in memory or in meaning? Is it the culmination of one's universal lesson in the year gone past? Is it really that? Or is it simply when in the Northern Hemisphere more light begins to take place, and in the Southern Hemisphere more light begins to fade? In other words, is the whole cosmos as it is and as it moves from any sphere or dimension meaningfully pointing towards one's innate possibility to live, to thrive, to be alive as that? 22nd, 8:30 UK time in the evening. Much love to you all. I love you as myself. Bye for now.